Hi guys, my name is Pip and I thank you for watching my new video. I know I'm about 6 years late to the trend and I really can't draw. I'm drawing this with my finger in a sketchbook app on my iPad. But I wanted to do this video anyways. Welcome to my Draw My Life. It was a nice April day in 1996 when my mom gave birth to a little girl named Mariah. Say what? Yup, my actual name is Mariah. I'll get to that story in a bit. Me being born completed our family of 5. My mom, my dad, and my 2 big sisters. Little me was a happy, very active, and chubby baby. Moving on to my early childhood. I was always singing and I couldn't wait until I was old enough to be in the children's choir at church. My mom was actually the conductor of the choir, so once I was in the choir, I realized I didn't like it that much after all, which was sad. Poor mom. Poor mom, indeed. I was a very, very difficult child. I was throwing tantrums and getting really upset. For example, if I wanted 2 cookies, but my mom would only let me have 1, I'd throw myself on the ground and scream and cry until I got another cookie. Talk about being a little bit of a drama queen. It came to a point where my parents called in for professional help to get me checked out. To see what was wrong with me, I had to play games. These games were, of course, actually a test to check my IQ and to see if I had ADHD or any other mental or behavioral difficulties. I have some official documents from November 2003 listing my problem areas. I will name a few. Won't listen to reason, trouble sleeping, lacks empathy, explosive behavior. Some other observations were that I was highly active, but my speech and language development was very good. I was not a very clingy child, and I was very fanatical with my homework. Apparently, I told this lady I didn't like the games and questions. I even answered the "what's your biggest dream" question with, "I'm not gonna tell you because then it won't come true." Glad I didn't tell her though, otherwise I wouldn't be where I am today, I guess. At this point, to try to get me to be less aggressive, I wasn't allowed to eat sugar for a couple of years. Maybe it was months, but it felt like years. Also, the test told us my IQ was just a little over average, and I had no other disabilities. Let's just leave it at the fact that I was a bit of a shitty child. Apparently, my brain had hit puberty a little early, because later in life, I was not really a difficult teenager. Moving on. This is the point where I started writing and having crushes. A lot. I have diaries full of descriptions of my days, and every month I'd have a crush on someone new. I also started writing entire books, and I wanted to become an author. When I was 8 years old, my parents decided they wanted to be missionaries. Me being the obstinate kid I was, I really didn't want to leave my friends behind and go with them. But okay, I was 8, so I had no choice. They had to go to Bible school first, so they did, and we moved there for a few months, and at the end, they had to do an outreach, which meant we had to go abroad, and we ended up in Madagascar for 2 months. After those 2 months, we were all set to go on board and leave our life in the Netherlands behind, and then we would sail off on one of the hospital ships from Mercy ships. These are ships that go along the coast of Africa to give people their free healthcare. I would go to an international school there, and they had even bought me a djembe so that I could take lessons on board. That got me a little bit more excited about the whole thing. But just a few weeks before we were supposed to leave, the mission got called off. My dad apparently did not have the right technical papers to work on a ship. He could go by himself for a few months to learn, but he couldn't take his family with him, so it got cancelled. And then we started living our regular lives again. For the majority of my childhood, I was a Girl Scout. Every Saturday morning, I'd go there and we'd play games and have fun. According to my diary, I got my first kiss on the mouth from a boy in 2006. I was boy crazy, it's insane. This was also the time I started getting into building websites and playing Habbo Hotel. I was addicted. Too bad I could only be on the computer for 1 hour a day. In my last year of middle school, around age 10, I started learning how to play the guitar. And that's where my first songs emerged. I stopped writing entire stories and I started writing shorter little stories and putting music to them. I never stopped writing songs. Getting ready to go to high school. In the Netherlands, our school system works like this. There's 3 kinds of education. Let's call them middle school, high school, and college. Middle school is from age 4 to 11, and that's where it gets tricky. The school system splits into levels. The first level takes 4 years, the second level takes 5 years, and the third level takes 6 years. With the first level, you can get a diploma and you can study at a certain college. With the second one, you can study at that certain college and another college. And with the highest level, you can go to any college or university you would like. In middle school, you have to take a test, and in combination with a recommendation from your teacher, you can get into a certain level. I went to the highest level first, but after 1 year, I realized I didn't like Greek and Latin. They were not for me, and I switched levels. In my second year, when I was 13, I decided I did not like my name. Here in the Netherlands, people don't know how to pronounce my name right. They either say Maria or they pronounce it dramatically American, like Mariah, but it's supposed to be Mariah. Well, I'm speaking in English now, so I'm saying Mariah. But if you're speaking Dutch, you should just say Mariah. So I told my mom that I wanted to change my name, since it was her and my dad's fault for picking this name. She came up with Pip, and we both loved it. The rest was history. I started telling everyone to call me Pip, and slowly but surely people started getting used to it. During my high school years, I never really had many friends. I wasn't fighting with anybody, and I had a lot of people I got along with very well. But everybody had their own friend group, and I didn't seem to be included in any of them. I was just sort of floating between them all and never really belonged. I didn't have a lot of time after school for friends anyway, because I was always making music, doing church things, playing soccer, and working on the side to save up for music-related things like microphones and guitars and laptops, so I get why I didn't have many friends. I worked as a paper girl for a few years. I even did a morning paper at one point. It was hell, but it made good money, especially for my age. I worked in a metal factory for a short summer, I worked in a small lunchroom, I worked in a supermarket, I worked in an ice cream shop, and I worked in a clothing store. Not all at the same time, but some of them overlapped. In my third year of high school, I started taking Chinese classes as an extra course. And in my fifth year, we took a trip to Beijing with all of the students who were taking Chinese at that time. At our school, all students would do a trip in their fifth year, but this China trip was an extra trip. And I had also taken an extra class to be able to go on a trip to New York. So in 2013, I went to Beijing and New York in the same year. It was the best year ever. Best high school ever. I did have to pay for most of it myself, but I had all of those jobs, so I could. It was awesome. In my high school years, I also started taking music more seriously. In 2008, I started uploading to YouTube, but in 2010, I hated all my videos and deleted them, unfortunately. I did start again, and I have not stopped since. I wanted to participate in every single thing that had to do with music. The school talent show, the choir, the musicals, everything. I played Sophie in Mamma Mia and did another Dutch musical as well. I never really studied. I'm not sure I know how to study. I just don't have the concentration. I paid attention in class, and that's what got me through all of my tests and exams. My grades were not super great though. Oh well, I graduated. In that year, I was at a crossroads. What are we gonna do with our lives? I decided to go study law in Rotterdam. At the same time, I decided I'd apply to be on The Voice of Holland, just to see what the coaches would say. That was the start of a crazy roller coaster. Not only did 3 of the coaches turn their chair, but I made it to the live shows. You can imagine that I didn't have much time left and not a lot of motivation to put in the work for university, so I dropped out. I was going to be a singer. Of course, I couldn't make a living out of it right away, so I kept some jobs on the side. In 2016, I could live off the singing thing full time. I did keep working in the ice cream shop though, just because I like the ice cream so much. Getting signed to a label is kind of really hard, so I decided to do it all myself. I've crowdfunded some of my music, but about 90% of everything I've put out there I've paid for myself with money I made performing. In 2015, I dropped my first single. I remember being in Disney when I dropped my first single. That was a pretty special moment for me. At this moment, I've released 2 EPs and 1 full album. I'm still working on a lot of music, and I hope to never have to stop. In 2016, my parents finally got the opportunity to pursue their dreams of being missionaries, which made that I had to go and find a place to live and move out. In January of 2017, they left and they went to live in Uganda. In 2016, I met the love of my life, my lovely boyfriend Marvin. We met through our mutual friend Gabi that we knew from our The Voice adventure. On a lovely day in June, Gabi posted a video of her and Marvin on her Facebook page. I was newly single at the time, and I had always thought Marvin was super cute, so I decided to jokingly post a comment on our video saying that I had a crush on Marvin. And boy, it got out of hand. We met up the next day and hit it off immediately. A few months later, we were in a relationship, and in 2017, we moved in together. I'm drawing a house right now, but I wish. We live in a small apartment on the 5th floor. And in 2018, we added a very cute little furry friend to our family. His name is Snarky, and he is our best friend, and he is so cute. At this moment, Marvin and I are both full-time singers. We sometimes do gigs together and also have our separate bands and projects. I also love playing musicals, and that's something I do as a hobby on the side in our local theater. I also love working out and trying lots of new things. I think those were kind of my highlights. I hope you liked this video, and don't forget to press that like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. If you like this video, click the thumbs up. Let me show you many other videos you probably also like.